Hi viewers, welcome to another edition of Marie Clinic Live. How are you today? I remain your host, Merlai Hano. Thank you so much for joining me today on this edition of Marie Clinic Live. Thank you to all our followers, to all our subscribers on both our Facebook group page and our YouTube channel. Woo! We celebrate you, and to all our new subscribers, our new followers, new joiners, we thank you. Thank you so much for always joining us and following us. I do celebrate you all. And thank you to all our members at Marie Clinic for all those heartwarming messages, prayers, wishes. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I do appreciate all that we do. And I do celebrate also. Thank you. Thank you. So today I want us to talk about breaking out of this cycle of, bad habit or destructive habit that is harming your marriage. How you can break out of this cycle of, all these negative energies, all these destructive habits that are not good for your marriage. Now, marriage is a beautiful thing. Marriage was ordained by God. God says that two are better than one, and to be honest, in reality, two are always better than one. When two people work together, when there is unity, when there is harmony, when things are functioning or working the way they should, you will realize that it will even help your own personal growth faster in life. It will help you to accomplish more. But when you are in a marriage that, there is so much negative energy, destructive habit, things are happening that is draining you, is draining your energy, is giving you maybe psychological and mental trauma, is setting you back in a way, then you may need to sit down and ask yourself, okay, so what exactly is this person doing, or what exactly am I doing in this marriage that is causing this harm, that is causing, this damage to our marriage? Now, one of the things we should be able to do as adults is the ability for us to sit down and self-reflect. It is always very important for us to be able to self-reflect. Take a personal assessment or independent assessment of your life, of the things you are doing, and ask yourself, okay, what is it that I'm doing that is working for me, and what is it that I'm doing that is not working for me? Now, in marriage, there are quite a number of destructive habits that couples engage in that is not good for the marriage, but unknowingly to them they keep doing those things without minding the repercussion. The honest truth is that if we keep going on with that cycle of bad habits, if you allow that cycle of bad habit to continue to go on in your marriage, I tell you, the future, maybe very unstable. A lot may go wrong in the future, and you do not want that. And that is why I titled it, you need to break out of this cycle. Now, when each person sit down, especially when you have maybe a traumatic or a problematic marriage, you want to ask yourself, okay, what exactly is this person doing that I don't like, or what exactly am I doing in this marriage that my spouse doesn't like, that is creating friction or frequent quarrel, frequent fight in our marriage? So when you sit down and you self-reflect, you will be able to identify or pinpoint the particular thing or things that are causing issues in your marriage. So for example, one of the things that I see that cause frequent issues in marriage is this issue of cheating. Is this issue of cheating. Now you see, maybe the man is heavily cheating on the woman, or the woman is heavily cheating on the man. Whichever way, the person doing the cheating, you need to sit down and talk to yourself. Ask yourself, is this how I want to continue with my life? What are the repercussions of these actions, that I'm currently doing? What are the repercussions of this cheating act on my marriage, on myself, on my home, on my children, on the family that I'm trying to build? And you are hoping that that family will become established, because God's plan is that your marriage should become established. But one of the things that will truncate the establishment of your marriage is the current habit that you are exhibiting in the marriage that is destroying the marriage. Now, if you are heavy, into cheating, whichever way, whether you are heavy or light, whichever way, if you are into cheating, you should ask yourself, how is this cheating destroying my marriage? How is it even affecting my own life? Because if you are cheating, that means you will be lying a lot. You will be heavy with lies. You will have like a lying tongue, because you will need one lie to cover up the other lie, because you will be looking for one lie or the other to tell to your wife at home, or to tell it to your husband at home. You will be heavy on lies. And resources wise, you will have to part with resources to whoever you are cheating with. Then you are prone to maybe contacting different diseases. You will be prone to some danger, which some people do not mind, but whichever way, it does not rule out the fact that you can contact diseases out there, and so many other things like that. Then you ask yourself, is this how you want to continue with your life? Because you may be enjoying it now. It might be like, oh, now I'm feeling cool, I'm having an easy ride, you are enjoying yourself, oh, it's pleasurable, this feels good and all of that. But down the line, will it still feel good? Will you still experience this pleasure? Because I tell you, it will turn to gravel in your mouth. It will turn to a bitter experience eventually. And when you know that there are repercussions waiting for you in future, then you want to break out of this cycle. You want to break away from it and tell yourself that if I don't put a stop to this thing will ground my life. That is the honest truth. Go and ask people that are heavily involved in one addiction or the other, or heavily involved with one destructive habit or the other. They will tell you that it is that habit that destroyed their lives. It could be drinking, it could be smoking, masturbating, heavy into cheating, heavy into women, promiscuity, heavy into men, doing all sorts. It could be heavy into even stealing, lying, begging, whatever it is that you are doing, that you yourself that this thing is drawing me back, this thing is driving me backwards, this thing is not allowing me to make progress, it's not giving stability to my marriage, it's not giving stability to my home, it's not giving stability to anything that I'm doing, even to your job. Is affecting your job, is affecting your marriage, is affecting even your spouse, the lives of your children. Then it's time to talk to yourself. Tell yourself the truth that I need to do away with this habit. I need to break away from this habit. I need to break out of this cycle. I don't want it anymore. And the same thing is applicable to women. You need to ask yourself as women, because I see some women, like especially when we put posts on the group, they become very combatant. They see all posts as fights. They don't want to hear the truth. But the honest truth is that the same way you are pointing fingers at men, that men does this, men do this, men does that, my husband does this, my men do this, this, my husband does this. The same way you are pointing an accusing finger, if you interview them as well, they will tell you that you also do this. There are some things you also do that they do not like. So as a woman that is interested in the success of her home, you also need to sit down and ask yourself some honest truth that okay, what are the things that I'm doing currently in this marriage that I need to break away from, that I need to break out of, that this thing has been a repeated cycle in my life or in my marriage, and my husband does not like it. So what are those things? You can you can write them down, try to identify them. For some people it could be complaining, it could be nagging. Hey, and men don't like women that complain. You complain, complain, complain. Everything is complain. You don't see anything good in what the guy is doing. And the guy is trying his best, but his best is not always good for you. You must complain. You must nag. Now, that singular act of complaining, perpetual complaint, perpetual nagging, perpetual complaining. Hey, that singular heart might be what is making him irritated about you and drawing him away from you. That is why I said you need to pinpoint what it is you are doing that he doesn't like or she does not like, and you need to break away from it. Yours could be maybe laziness. You are just lazy. Everywhere is always dirty. You don't want to get things done. You are waiting for him to come back from work before you will cook a meal. You it's like you are just lazy. You don't want to do anything. You are not supporting financially, and you are not even supporting back at home, with making sure the home is in order. Everywhere is in order. For some people, they like chaos, they like things being scattered, but for some others, they like things being orderly. So are you that type of woman that you would arrange the house, you will make sure everywhere is clean before your spouse comes back, or even your children before they come back from school? Or you are the type that the same way the bed was when you woke up in the morning from the bed, that's the same way the bed will still be when when your spouse come back or the children come back to come and lay on the bed. Nothing has changed. The kitchen will be dirty. Everywhere is dirty. If that is what is causing issues between you and your husband, why not change that attitude? Break away from it quickly before it destroys your marriage. Now, yours could be maybe frequent denial of your husband. You deprive your husband or deny them of their conjugal rights. I see that a lot in the group. People complaining that she's denying me of sex, and she's withholding sex, and she's using sex as weapon. We get that a lot. Please, it's time for you to also talk to yourself that don't you think it's time for me to break away from this cycle of denying my spouse their conjugal rights? And if there is anything that is making you deny them, why not talk to them about it? Maybe if you want them to start helping you with chores, so that it can offload some things from you and give you more time for yourself and for them, then communicate. Let them know that my daddy's workload is too much for me. I alone cannot take care of children. I alone cannot do that. You need to assist me. Assist, not that you are asking him to come and do it. You need to assist him. That is if he does not have the financial resources to get you a help or a nanny, then he must be willing to assist. So, but the way you talk to him about assisting you also matters. It's not in a commanding tone. Oh, go and fetch water. After all, you should know you should fetch water. Now, can't you see I'm pregnant? Same thing applies to the men. The way you also talk to your wife matters, because if you talk to your wife anyhow in such a way that she's nothing, she's nonsense, I tell you, she will resent you. So there has to be something that you are doing in that marriage that your spouse is frowning at, that they find unpleasant, and that thing is what is causing friction in your home. That thing is what is causing disharmony, disunity. It's time to break out or break away from that thing. Break off. Let that thing falls off you and say, this thing in this new year 2026, I must do away with you. Yours may be malice. Both of you can keep malice for Africa and for the whole world. You will keep malice for weeks and you don't care. Tell yourself it's time to break away, mature, and grow out of all these attitude, actions, bad habits that are not in any way encouraging the growth of your marriage, or that are not in any way supporting the success or the unity and the harmony in your marriage. You need to break away from all those things. Please try and pinpoint what your own is. Try and identify it. As I have my own, and I'm seriously working on it. And have a listening ear to what your spouse is saying. Whatever your spouse is repeatedly complaining about, please, there must be an element of truth there. You may not know that that thing is bothering them, but when they are stressing it, know that it's a source of worry and a source of concern, and it's a pain point for them. So why not pay attention to those areas? And I tell you, when you are intentional, when you are deliberate, when you pay attention to these areas, I tell you, it's only a matter of time. These things will fizzle out. They will fall away from you, and you realize that, oh, I've actually overcome this thing. I've grown out of it. I've matured out of it. There are times now that I'm like, oh, I will look back, I'll be like, oh, you mean, oh, you have really transformed, you've changed this much in this area, in that area. But I tell you, it did not happen overnight. I keep evolving, I keep developing myself. Same thing for my husband. And it is when we both agree to work on each other's areas, of challenge, that is when, you will experience growth in that marriage. You will experience peace. That is when you will experience bliss, harmony. But when each person decides to do whatever they like in the marriage, you are not ready to work on anything, you are not ready to work at anything, you are not ready to fix anything, you are not ready to improve on anything, that is when things falls apart. But when you both are intentional and you tell yourself that this thing that my wife is always complaining about, I think enough is enough. It's high time I do away with this thing, so that there can be peace in my home, so that my wife can be at peace with me and I can be at peace with my wife. This thing that my husband is always complaining about, it's time for me to do away with this thing. Whatever it is that they are complaining about, please, it's time for you to address it. Don't ignore it. Don't say, oh, he's just saying his own. I don't like hearing that. Don't say, well, she's just saying now. Don't take your wife for granted. Don't take your husband for granted. Don't say, this one, see finish, I've seen him finish, or I've seen her finish, so I will not adjust, I will not make any adjustment or any amendment. You will be shooting yourself in the foot that way. Please, let's be intentional about making corrections. Let's make adjustments. Let's have peace reign and rule in our home. It is very important, because if there is no peace in your home, you can't even focus or concentrate on doing other things for your life. When there is no peace, when you are in an environment where there is no peace, then your mind will not even be at rest. But we have the ability to create that peace. As a matter of fact, the lack of peace that we do not have in that environment was created by you and your spouse, by your actions. So if you want the reverse, if you want to bring back the peace, then you have to start on doing all those things you are doing that is robbing you of the peace in your home. So start on doing those things, and you realize that peace will return. Please, I think I have said enough. Think and reflect about these things. Think about what you are doing that your spouse doesn't like, and your spouse too should also think about what he or she is doing that you do not like. And if you think they are yet to know what it is, that is irritating you, or that they are doing that you don't like, communicate. Open your mouth and tell them, my dear, this thing is what you are doing that I don't like. Please tell them, and tell them in love. Everything is not fight. Let's be flexible. Let's have an open mind. Let's embrace changes, because the world is changing. The world is evolving. You cannot say, I'm fixing my ways, so I'm not flexible. You have to be flexible. You have to embrace change. You have to keep changing. You have to keep evolving. And you have to become intentional about your growth and development in life, and including in your marriage. And as we do this, you will see that things will start changing in your home. Things will start changing in your marriage. And don't forget to pray about those things that you do not like to see in your spouse. The things you don't like to see in your spouse, pray about them. Tell them to go. The things you are saying in your children that you do not like, pray about them as well. Even in your own life, the things you are saying that you do not like, commit them to the hands of God. And I tell you, with time, things will start changing. It's only a matter of time. The changes will happen. I would like to stop here now. I hope you have learned a lot today. I remain your host, Morla Hand Obuti. Till we meet again, I say
Marriage Clinic TV.